Good evening, televiewers. You're welcome to another edition of Prime on My Media Prime. We this day are going to be looking at professional education, asking the question whether it is the sure path to emergence in Cameroon, looking at the different concepts that are being sold or slogans sold in some of these higher professional institutions in Cameroon. There are schools that call themselves the schools for professionals. Others say they are the entrepreneurial universities. Others say they are the best schools for the job market. Cameroon, as a nation, has also targeted the year 2035 as the year for its emergence. Many are asking whether it is the system of education that is going to guide Cameroon towards emergence. So today we want to see what part of professional education can contribute towards Cameroon's emergence. We are going to be discussing this with some experts in the domain from some higher professional institutions in Cameroon. Some are already in the studio, others are still on their way. We hope that they are going to join us in the course of the program. We are in the company of Doris. She is an expert, a chartered accountant, a coach par excellence for the Higher Institute of Management Studies, HIMSS, Boya. We're glad to have you all the way from Boya to be with us for the very first time on this edition of the program. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. I'm really pleased to be here.
Hi, it's Boya, city of legendary hospitality.
Oh my God, that's the best city in the world. You know? That's the Center for Innovation, Silicon Mountain. So.
Yes, we are all Boya people. So we're always glad to hear that Boya is doing well. Representing the Catholic University Institute of Boya is my Jarvis. Good evening, Jarvis.
Good evening, Leonard. Good evening to Madam Doris. Good evening to Cameroon watching us right now. Good evening to the people of former town of excellence, now legendary hospitality.
No, formerly it was city of no, it was town of legendary hospitality. It moved to city of excellence, back to legendary
hospitality. So I just want to say good evening to all those who are watching us, especially to the President of the Republic and the Ministry of Higher Education. Talking about the issues.
Okay, we are going to kickstart our program. Eli, if the element we broadcasted yesterday on the Zambian intellectual giving us painting the picture of why Africa is where it is today, if it is available, can we have it for our televiewers to refresh their minds before we plunge into our discussions for today? Seemingly it's not ready. Let me start with you, Doris Ngum.
Yeah.
From when we talk of professional education in Cameroon, what are we talking about?
Professional education in Cameroon is about getting contextual education, really, because what I realized is that in the past we had relegated technical education to be for the dull students. So when you had LISB, you know, when you pass your common entrance, you either have list A or you're part of the list B. And when you're list B, then that's when you belong to commercial education or technical education, which has to do with skill development, which has to do with not just knowledge, but then applicable knowledge, being able to practice this. So that's what the professional education has come to bridge that gap now between theory and practicals.
Okay. Tamai Jarvis, we are talking about professional education. You are representing the Catholic University Institute of Catholic University Institute of the Diocese of Boya. In this, what do you people sell to Cameroonians as professional education?
Well, Leonard, you know, as we live in a constantly changing world, things are changing, and as things keep changing, what people used to expect before is not what is applying now. And sometimes you do a forecast before you could reach that year, you are 5 times ahead of things, are 5 times ahead of the forecast. So at the Catholic University of Boya, we've come to understand that there is a changing world and there's a changing reality. So we are training students from perspective of willingness to adapt to the constantly changing landscape, not just to remain at the level of their book, but to understand that the society is changing. Remember that, Leo, especially at the level of commercial, those who are doing banking and finance, there are certain software that is being used only in one particular school. Now, if you train a kid to use only a particular software, and that kid goes to a different bank that uses a different software, and you know, sometimes they say we were not taught, but the banks have their own choice of software they use. So we train kids or students to understand that you may find yourself in a platform that offer a different software. You may find yourself in a platform that does things differently. That's why you see we rebrand the university into a growth mindset entrepreneurial university in such a way that we let the students understand that what you are taught in class is not just what is going to be applicable in the field. Before you may even arrive at the field, it could be obsolete. For example, we have simulation labs moving up and down. And let me not even go to the level of simulation lab. Let me come to the media world per se. Today, somebody is using Adobe Premiere Photoshop. Tomorrow, somebody is using the V-Blaster. To the next day, somebody is using a different software. Now, when you train kids at a particular software, they become counterproductive to meet up with a changing reality. That's why the Cameroon University of Boya, the slogan is training professional servant leaders with spiritual and moral values who will contribute to the growth and the sustainable development of their community. And if you look at how the programs are structured, they are structured in such a way that it's a 4-year program, Leonard, because we normally don't follow the 3-year program of universities. We believe that within the context of university, it should be more practical based oriented and not just theory based oriented. That's why when your kid come on in year 1, that kid undergo what is known as formation, and before that kid comes to formation, there's what we call that.
No, we're not talking about CIB. I'm asking about what is professional in the education that you are providing.
That's what I'm analyzing.
Yes.
No, I'm analyzing what is professional
education. People are
no, I'm analyzing. You are talking the context of CIB.
Yes.
Except you say, let me give you from the general context. I'm giving you from the context of CIB to let you know that the professional education from the CIB perspective, we believe that a kid from, let's say, advanced level with 2 papers has the ability to still cope and understand, have the ability to still cope and study in any sector. For example, if you have 2 papers with 2 points in accounting and you want to do engineering, we believe that from a perspective, as a mind is open to learn engineering, and you have that willingness to learn engineering, we admit you from the perspective of engineering because people tend to affiliate themselves to what they like best, and they tend to do better, and that's the system, the Afro-American system.
Okay, Madam Doris.
Yes, sir.
Why does the country party needs a professional education today? Why is it imperative if Cameroon has to make a difference and its youth? Why is it imperative to engage or embrace professional education?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Professional education is, as you rightly captured this session, the pathway to emergence. We're looking at emerging 2035, right? That's what we're looking at. But how can we, if all we know is just theories that we've been taught about other nations in the 1920s? Those are some of the theories that they teach us in general education. But we are not contextual in our educational system. We are not training students that can identify current problems that we're experiencing in our society to solve them. And that is some of the things that, that is what guides our move in the Higher Institute of Management Studies. We are approaching the entrepreneurial university as an entrepreneurial university. We're evolving as that, which means that we're constantly training students to become leaders. We train them to look beyond the blackboard, because we're not just about you having a certificate. So we're moving them away from the mindset of just having a certificate to become experts at different fields. Because it's not just about, we are where we are because we've been too shallow in our approach. We get students who study accountancy, but then they cannot meet up with the demands of the market because they've probably never seen an invoice before. They learned about it, and they learned it in British terms. They learned about what happens in the UK, but not knowing what happens in Cameroon. And I believe that is why professional education has become really, really imperative now. Because if Cameroon needs to emerge, then we need, as Jarvis is actually saying, we are faced with in an economy where things are always evolving. So we need to train people that can meet up with the global demands.
People who can meet up with the global demands. Are you saying that something is missing there's a missing link with what students have been studying this far, because you see people are working, or they have been studying with a perspective of
just having a certificate. Yes, students have been studying with a mindset of, I just want to have a certificate and get out of school, but they're not studying with a mindset of understanding, what do I really want to become? A few years ago in HIMSS, we introduced a course, we identified this need, and we introduced a course called Practical. Now, Practical, one of the things we do is we help students to be able to identify the gifts and the potential in them, and to be able to draft and craft their future, to help them understand what career path they really want to take. Because you meet a child in the university, like he was saying, you know, most of these professional schools, if you have 2 points, you come in. So because you didn't take me, therefore, okay, HIMSS is available, CUIB is available, another university is available, and I go there. And we understand that in HIMSS, we are not just about the money. It's not just about getting students.
We are getting there. We are going to come there. But my question is, theories about other countries, contextual. You want persons or your studies are tailored towards the Cameroonian context. That is, trying to identifying Cameroonian problems and be able to
solve them. Yes, that is why for us, our entrepreneurship course, for instance, is 40% practical and then 60% theory. So in the exams, out of 60 marks, 40 is actually coming up with a business idea. In a few days, we'll be having the entrepreneurship jamboree, and this is the 5th edition. And we've always had that because we want to provoke, we want to tease them, we want them to be able to bring out that creativity that is in them. We don't believe that education is about coming to tell students something that they sort of don't really know, because the internet is there these days. You can research anything you want to research, but it's about being a coach. That's why I call myself an entrepreneurship coach, because it's about coaching the students, it's about helping them and guiding them. So it's a combination of 3 things for us: knowledge, skill, and attitude.
You see, 60% practicals, 40% theory. The
60% theory.
60% theory.
Yes.
Theory,
so
40%.
And 40%. That's in the exams in terms of our evaluation. But then, when as far as the course is concerned, 70% is practicals.
Practicals where? In the school? In
the school, yes. We are actually working on a business incubator in HIMSS, which means that the students come up with an idea, and we you know, they have a startup, and we don't do the normal business plan. We train them to use a business model canvas, which is a 1-page business plan, because at that stage, you don't have the capacity. It's still an idea that you're testing. You're still testing it. You're trying to find a model. You have an idea, but you're trying to test it and find a model. So we give them a platform to test this. And our entrepreneurship course is very dynamic. We bring out entrepreneurs from the field to come and train them on different subjects, so that they get the understanding that life is not just about you, yourself, and you, but then understanding that it's about working as a team. So we train them more as leaders, empowering them to understand leadership.
Now, why is it imperative for Cameroon to embrace a professional education today?
There is what we call cultural entropy, doing one and the same thing over and over and over again and expect different results. And when you look at the higher educational system of Cameroon, it's more tailored towards cultural entropy, where people design programs to meet up as it was before, and they say, no, this is how it used to be done before. No, this is how we did this before. But they don't look at the changing realities that, okay, Cameroon want to emerge by 2035. Okay, Cameroon is talking about achieving Millennium Development Goals. Okay, Cameroon is talking about the effective decentralization.
How do we tell
Cameroon is talking about effective decentralization, where councils, municipalities will be able to run their affairs and manage their development. How do we train people to fulfill these policies that the government want to achieve? Now, Cameroon is talking about boosting its GDP. How do we? Now, we are more focused on giving matricles or telling matricle-oriented students that don't bother, get this done. You have a godfather somewhere, and they will put you somewhere. Now, our educational system, from both the state and most private institutions, have been tailored towards matricle syndrome, where people believe that, oh, I'm going to school now, I have a concours to write, then after that I'll get a job from the government, and that's all. Majority of those, even from a private institution, they are looking at jobs from the state. and very few are even looking at creating their jobs. And that's where we have a problem. We have a problem because there is a lot of dependency as of job seekers. Job seekers depend a lot from job creators, and the ability to produce these jobs are limited not just in the factor of payment, but limited in the number of spaces. How many graduates does UB send out a year? How many graduates does HIM send out a year? How many graduates does CID send out a year? Now if you compare to this, what if the system was tailored towards training these students to understand that, hey, there is a minimum, we are talking about effective decentralization. Maybe when you graduate as an accountant, you go to Boya Council, propose this idea to them. When you propose this idea to them, how they can successfully collect revenue from Boya market, from Boya Central market, from this market, believe me, you will be an entrepreneur and you create job. And this is what we lack. Sometimes I think that it is now left to from who are those teaching these children, who are those training them, because you cannot give what you don't have.
That's right.
Sometimes you bring a normal professor who have undergone a system of learning or a system of education that is more centered on theory. You expect that person to teach an entrepreneurial university or entrepreneurial school. That professor will give you more of the theoretical framework, will give you more of what it was before as it is now, and so should it be. How do you expect that kid to develop an idea? Let me come to a perfect example of agriculture. Take agriculture for instance. Many are just looking at the normal organic, inorganic agriculture, but organic agriculture pays. Organic agriculture where you don't use fertilizer, you don't use manure, you don't use chemical. And when you go to some of this country, those who are selling organic substances is more expensive than those who are selling inorganic. If you are selling organic substances like, let's say, the vegetable huckleberry, a bundle of huckleberry for organic, it should be about 1,000 because no fertilizer, nothing to nothing, and that one is highly nutritive and your health is not risk. Now, in this context, how do we train kids to understand that we have organic agriculture, focus on organic agriculture, come to the aspect of even digital agriculture or what we call entrepreneurial agriculture? Many of them are just focused on, anyway, let's go to the farm, produce this. How do we market? How do we form a synergy? I think it is right time that our lecturers who are training these kids to understand that, look at government policies. Most of the educational system are not tailored towards government policies. They are tailored towards concours and go out, look for a job, go out, look for a job. Even some of those universities that train these kids end up do a simple survey. How many of those students who have graduated from some of these schools are working back in the school? Sometimes most of them cannot even work back in the school. Not just because you cannot train someone who cannot work back in your school. So if you can train someone who can work back in your school, it does mean that you are training that person on the job. But most of the times you get a kind of situations where people are trained but they cannot seek for a job in the school. And above all, the aspect of internship has been killed in most schools. It's just it has been limited to 1 month.
We are talking about professional education as a pathway to Cameroon's emergence. Cameroon has been independent since above 60 years today, right. And we know where we are today. Was there something acutely wrong with the system of education before the advent of
Yes, I think that a lot of attention was not paid to technical education, because like I started and I was saying in the beginning, Cameroon had lauded grammar education, right? So when you had list A, you go to the grammar school. But when you had list B, they considered you to be the reject one. And then you go to the technical school and the commercial school. But when you look at it, that is where the real solutions are. Because that is holistic education. It is not just about, like I say, a bunch of theories that we have learned from people in another culture, up till and somewhere in the industrial revolution, and we are talking about the information age, and we are still depending on curriculums that came from our colonial masters. So I think that it's time for us to take our destiny into our hands, because our problem is not poverty, is not because we don't have the resources, but it's about training ourselves to take charge and to understand that we have these resources. And say for instance, Njangi, can we make Njangi a financial instrument? That is something that our parents have started business on. The Bamike people that hold this country in terms of economy, that is what they've thrived on. But we don't have an educational system that encourages people to use such systems. So I think that, you know,
to study how it
works, and to think how to innovate it.
Come out with
yes, to innovate it. You know, like somebody was saying the other day, okay, we're talking about this, for instance. We copied a microfinance system that maybe this Mohammed guy discovered in Bangladesh. That was to solve a specific problem in Bangladesh. Now, Cameroon has their own culture. We have sought, Njangi has been our thing. We have used Njangi to build businesses. Our parents used Njangi to send us to school. Now we are going to school, and those are some of the things that we tell our students. I remember he's talking about agriculture. I remember talking to one student who was from Bongé, and his parents are predominantly farmers. So can you go and innovate? Now, the same vegetables your father sells, can we use technology to be able to deliver those same vegetables to the homes of people? That creates value. So we can eliminate the buy and sell them in a way, and then it gives you, the farmer, more money. So you help your father to make more income, and then you also give access to maybe busy professionals who cannot have the time to go to Munya market to buy a vegetable. You see, so I believe that we have a lot of resources, and we need to put, and I so believe that God has given each and every person that is born in Cameroon something unique to contribute to Cameroon, and that is what we believe, that HIMSS is a center to treasure hunt. So we are treasure hunting. We are inspiring the students. So we are more of people that inspire than teach them a bunch of theories that are not relevant to them.
No, what specifically was wrong with the system, or is still wrong with Cameroon's educational system, taking away the growth in professional education?
I think what is wrong with the system is based on the admission. First, start with the admission, and second, start with the fact that the education is not tailored towards government policies, especially enforcing government policies. I'll give you an example. When we look at when some of us entered into secondary schools, it was highly kind of selective, where if those who had A grade in common entrance examination, they were seen as the most privileged, and those who had B, list B, and they were seen as the kind of from 1B or from 1C, and the emphasis was not there. So the morals start dropping from the kid who is taking at a different perspective. Now, the second aspect, you come now to the level of project, and how does this apply? Those who are writing project, Leonard, in the different professional higher institutions. Higher institutions need to focus on the fact that those who are in school, or the undergraduate students, come up with a project that can self-sustain them after graduation. And most of the time what happens, we go and get projects done, we come, and some of those projects we just naively defend them, and we go. And if you ask yourself, the project that comes before every school, what if these are project that you find you want that it should be professional, it should be self-sustaining, it should be a project that with that kid leave this institution, that kid can do a follow-up for that project. It's lacking. We lack that in Cameroon, and we lack that in a higher institution. Most of the time, some universities, it's only the master's students who defend their project. But what if we move to a level where those who defend the project are undergraduate students? If HMD students can defend their project, what of those from the BSc? Why can't they not defend their project? And what are the constituents that make up their project? People just pick topics left and right to graduate. But if you pick topics that can be sustained, and that, okay, you say, maybe I'm looking at revenue collection in the local community, you identify a particular problem, that how can we collect revenue in, let's say, Tico Council, in an aspect of crisis. With that, it will push you to a certain level. You can say, okay, you can come and say, maybe there's a machine that needs to be developed to pay coin, to push coin. At that level, now involve engineering. But sometimes we don't have this in Cameroon. We don't have that. Even if we have, it's not enforced. Leona, ask yourself, when you got into university, within the various universities, how many of the students who graduated from first degree actually defended their project? They only defended a level of masters, and after the first degree project, what happened? Some of us were abandoning at our shelves. We never even, you ask some people their topics now, they will not tell you.
True.
They will not. But what if you start implementing that before you defend a project? It should be a project that can impact your community. You see somebody just take a project assessing the life of the local of chief in our community, that's all. How does that impact your society? How does that impact your community? Come to banking, assessing the level of akao in our community. And how does that impact? Maybe you look at a particular case study. That there is a problem I want to solve. People are playing akao, they don't receive their money. What if we design a system where when you play akao, your money cannot get missing? And this is what I identify. This is a solution. I think it goes a long way to enforce professionalism. Professionalism is work for its earned. It's not just level of staying with, let's say we have first degree, we have second degree, we have all masters and the rest. No, professionalism is not the level of degree. It's the quality of education you receive. Because many people have limited professionalism to be at the level of masters or PhD and the rest. Sometimes you can be a PhD lecturer, you can be a PhD holder, but you are not a professional. I always define professionalism from my layman perspective is do something within a short period of time, within a very short period of time, but however achieving the desirable goal. Because you can be a professional and they give you a job to do for 1 week, you take 5 months and do that job. You are not a professional. A professional is someone who can adapt to pressure, who can adapt to changing reality, who can adapt to whatever things times change. That's a professional. So I think that with that regard, we start looking at the redefinition of professionalism.
Okay, Madame Doris from the Higher Institute of Management Studies here in Boya there. If we are talking about training professionals, we also need to consider the quality of those taken to
teach.
The quality of those taken to be trained.
Okay.
Where is the focus at the level of HIMSS? Is it the skills and what the student has, or it is the certificate that qualifies the person to be able to come for training at HIMSS?
It is not the certificate that qualifies the person to come at HIMSS, because we have come to understand, like, we're talking about professionalism not really being about, it's about the content of a person rather than, because evaluation sometimes might not necessarily be the true test of knowledge. You don't know what happened to a student when they were writing the common entrance. You don't know what happened to the student when they were writing the GCE A level. You don't know what conditions, what is a particular thing that they were facing at that moment that caused them to have that result. So we have a whole orientation system in HIMSS where during the season where we are recruiting students, we say we recruit students because we actually have a time to discuss with these students to find out what their dreams are. There have been instances where students have come to HIMSS and then we've discussed with them and found out that their dream is not really in the business world. And we've told them, you know what, we are focusing on business, and really clearly, from what we can see, you're trying to come here, but it will not help you because this is not what you're passionate about. So we should not force people into something that they are not passionate about. So for us, it's the content of the person. We seek to understand what is it that you really desire to do. What career path do you want to follow? And we understand what your skills are. For instance, my proprietor, one of the things that Mr. Fomba recently helped me orient a student was identifying the gift that student had in mathematics. I was looking at the student doing software engineering, and he directed me and said, no, I can't allow the student who has an excellent grade in accountancy and an excellent grade in mathematics to just go and do software engineering, but rather let that student do accounting. And then later on, you dive into software engineering. Now you have an accounting mind, and you can develop softwares that can be useful in any company that you find yourself
was that
in.
Done? And
it is done, yes. We have the student, and the student is studying accountancy now with a plan to ultimately become a software engineer. And we have also had students who've come to HIMSS through the entrepreneurial program. They've discovered, I was speaking to one of my ex-students yesterday because we were trying to capture their stories. And this girl, she started a fast food restaurant while she was in school. She called it Oasis the Lease. And now she's gone to Mbamayo. She started Oasis the Lease there. It's prospered to the point where she was telling me, Auntie Doris, I'm starting a new branch in Ebolowa. For us, that's what satisfies us. To see, the other day I was in Douala inaugurating Goodwill Consulting. Where did it start from? It started in HIMSS because we gave them the platform to develop ideas, and that is what Jarvis is talking about, developing ideas that can solve problems in Cameroon, and I think that is the meaning of contextual education. That's professionalism. Okay,
we've just been joined by Dr. Akamin Patrick, Director of Academic Affairs at the level of the Higher Institute of Business Management and Technology, Boya Himat. Good evening and welcome, Doctor.
Thank you.
Yes, all the way from Boya. I start by asking, I'll cue on to the question I asked Doris earlier on, with the consideration you take for those, for your intake, those who are coming into HIMAT. What do you consider? Is it the skills of the persons, or is it the qualification or the certificate? Because she says that even before admission, they take time off to discuss with the people, the students, and possibly give them counseling on which courses are best for them.
That's right.
Sure. I would dive into her shoes to say that what is usually taken into consideration is the skills, not actually the qualification of the students. Normally, when students come at level of orientation, we organize an orientation week. We school them on our programs. We have a one-on-one encounter with them to know actually what they actually came to in our institution to do. So in the course of that, most of them usually declare their intention, their interest in various fields of studies, and we used to advise them on what program can best suit their wish. So our interest is in the skill.
That's right.
Is in the skill. Bear in mind that professionalism is all about skill development. We develop skills in order to train job creators and not job seekers. That's what HIMAT does.
Okay, that is what HIMAT does. Donatus Ndango, Mr. Donatus Ndango is also he is the registrar of HIMAT. He's also for the very first time with us in our studios out here in Douala. We're glad to have you, Doc. I don't know why I call you Doctor.
It's coming.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yes, how is Boya? You were coming late. I'm sure it was not easy coming through the traffic.
Yes, we had a lot of traffic on the way, but thank God we are here.
Yes, how is HIMAT doing? We are talking about professional education pathway to Cameroon's emergence. How very capital is the molding of professionals for Cameroon? How very pivotal is that to HIMAT?
HIMAT, like any other private higher institution, has a very big role to play towards Cameroon emergence. As the other speakers have said, we focus more on the skills. If a student graduates, for example, we have HND, and HND is just a certificate that specifies competencies that the learner is supposed to have. But what is more important, it is the application of these skills into the professional world, and that's what we call professional education. Translating learning into practice. That is the difference professional education makes with a normal academic field. And in HIMAT, we have been training students in the professional milieu, and we have to add value to the training that we give through placing our students on internship, through academic study fields, academic study trips that we have organized to companies like the Brasseries du Cameroun, like Dangote Cement Cameroon, like the Douala Seaport, the Kribi Deep Seaport. We make our students come into contact with the professionals in the field to upgrade themselves with the current practices in the field, and it is a constant learning process. And we have so many students who have created businesses in Douala, in Boya, in Bamenda, even out of the country, to testify to this story.
Added value. When we talk of added value, some persons may be watching us from Muya, from other places across. When we say added value, what do you mean by that?
When we say added value, the programs we run are programs designed by the Ministry of Higher Education. When the university reforms of 2005, introducing the new governance for the professionalization of higher education, these programs were designed, and the ministry has been approving private higher education institutions. But to now add value to the training that the students receive, we engage into this hands-on training that make the students develop these competencies. And it is not only placing them, even we have our president of HIMAT, who in the convocation ceremony in 2006 empowered 5 of our students. These students are students who came up with a business proposal that they defended in the University of Bamenda, and they emerged the best in a business plan competition. And in front of the Vice Chancellor of the University of Bamenda, in front of the representative of the Ministry of Higher Education by then, Professor Gapsa, he empowered them with a sum of 2.5 million francs. And since then, we have been doing follow-up of the students, and they have created, some of them have created their businesses, some of them have created some foundations.
Now, hands-on, do you have anything to add to hands-on at the level of HIMSS?
Yes, like I said, when we get level 400 students, we don't just talk entrepreneurship. Okay. We start from day one. From day one, we get them to work as groups. We start with group work, we put them in groups, and we have a leadership academy where we train them how to work with one another. And in that leadership academy as well, one of the things that we really seek, and we get professionals to teach them how to stir up their creativity, so they understand and start valuing what they have. Because like I say, in education, in my perspective, I believe that it starts first of all from the soul, from quickening a person and inspiring a person to believe in the greatness that they contain, that they have within them. And when they understand that, then we now as professionals, we guide it. So in HIMSS, we help them by helping them first of all to identify what idea do they have that they can make a difference in any other organization that they go to, by helping them to realize that there is a uniqueness about them. Whenever they get to work somewhere, they become entrepreneurs. Because we believe in HIMSS that entrepreneurship is not just about necessarily creating your own business, but it's about a mindset. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of getting in somewhere and seeing that, okay, this thing was done like this. What can I do? How can I contribute to making it different? What can I add to this? How can I make this better? How can I make more clients to love this? And I believe that that is what value adding is. And that is why we focus on getting my co-lecturer. We teach entrepreneurship, 2 of us, but by the end of the class, we have more than 10 people that intervene in that class, because we help them to see that different people are skilled in different things. And these professionals, when they come, we don't talk entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is something that you have done. It's not about getting a PhD in it. But then when you speak to entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs come to teach you entrepreneurship, they speak from a place of experience. And that is what we want transferred into the students. So we get them to have encounters with other entrepreneurs in the real world, so that they can really develop the skills that they need to add value wherever they go, either by starting their own business or working somewhere else and adding value.
Yes, we are talking about the pathway to Cameroon's emergence. We also are talking about, though we are talking professional education, we also are talking about leadership. Catholic University Institute, you guys talk about what they call it, servant leadership. Yes, how do you imbibe that in the students?
Servant leadership with us, believe it starts from bottom to top and not from top to bottom. Therefore means that at the Catholic University of where if you are the president, you are like a student. If you are the gate man, you are like the president of the institution. Everybody has a role to play, and nobody is more inferior or less superior than the other. In this context, what do I mean? I mean that the restaurant, there's no place like staff canteen and student canteen. No. Where the president eats, we eat, because you teach what you practice, and students will see what is being applied. And we come now to this aspect of the educational perspective now of servant leadership. How does that apply? It applies from a basis where we have 3 categories of things that have been put in place. First, there's what we call the guest speaker. Each month we have prominent personalities who comes to school, and we have the assembly of students. The guest speaker gives the live lesson as to how he or she became what he or she is. And these are leaders within the society whom we bring to educate the students. And that is done every end of the month. And the students have to submit reports as of what they gather from the guest speaker. And once that is done, the next stage is what we call the boot camp. The boot camp is done in such a way that students come with a business idea. And when they come with a business idea, it's done, you must show an aspect of leadership, not just bringing the entrepreneur aspect of it. It's split into groups. Each group, they have leaders, they appoint their leaders, and they self-evaluate their leaders. That you give a secret report of what your leader has done, if he has a charisma at that level of during the bootcamp. Now, the few people who are who are selected among the bootcamp, they are giving money to give up the idea. That's how we have the Moringa. We are talking about the Moringa. One of our students developed Moringa. We are talking about our students won the MTN award in last year, two years ago, Bovinil and Bovinil, and some others. So those are that as a result of bootcamp. There's what we call the church fair. Now within this church fair is open to both the public and the students. Are academic fair. Now the students now still have a group. You are split into group. The previous ones who were first of all leaders from the bootcamp are no longer leaders from the church fair. Now you switch role in such a way that now you evaluate this person to see what this person is doing. You evaluate this person to see what the person is doing. We believe the concluding aspect is our election, our student election. We believe so much that the students have that power. They should be trained because they're leaders of now, not the tomorrow. How do we do this? We run a US kind of campaign where the students will have to defend or debate the presidential elections. We have the first presidential debate, we have the second presidential debate, we have the vice presidential debate. And that is done with the assembly. The president of the university is supposed to be there and witness all the debates where the students now debate within their peers and give their contribution, how they intend to lead the university. And with that regard, we vote them using the normal electronic system of voting. They vote online and the vote is counted online. So we train the students to understand that the same system they see in America is applicable in Cameroon, and it can be done such a way that if a student leaves that university and it has been the student union president, that student knows the value of leadership, not just entrepreneur. They understand that there must be an election and there must be democracy. People's opinions must be respected. So that's how we look at servant leadership from an academic perspective.
Yeah, but yes, you are looking at it from the democratic perspective. I want you to relate that to applying that to our society. We're talking about Cameroon becoming an emerging nation, and we know how acute the issue of leadership is in Cameroon.
When we look at what the university actually instituted as per looking at Cameroon roadmap, because we are not just doing this simply because we are Afro-American university. Okay. No, we believe that these same kids we are training will definitely become president or ministers or councillors or mayors in the next few years. So what we do is that we ensure that all those is compulsory. You must vote for a leader. There's nothing like you abstain for vote. You must vote. Because it is a right. If you start training a kid that, okay, you must select your leader that represents you, they do their campaigns, and their campaigns are funded by the school. The school pay for their campaigns, and they campaign for the teachers, and all the lecturers must vote. Because if you cannot vote for a student union leader, it therefore means that you cannot vote for your nation. So we inculcate that idea within the Catholic University of Boya. That's why when you see a kid from the Catholic University of Boya comes to talk to you, it's like that kid is pitching. Every kid has the ability to pitch an idea. And in all the boot camps that we organize, you must pitch an idea. And imagine from year 1, year 2, year 3, and it's done systematically first semester, second semester, first semester, second semester. Before you leave the institution, that leadership spirit must have gone deep in you. Our plea, our hope is that in the near future, these kids will definitely take over and change things to meet a democratic perspective and not keeping out the entrepreneur. Because what we see now is that when you train people without that ability of leadership, you are training responsible thieves, people who can in fact can rob your institution. So we inculcate this leadership spirit to believe that it is we and us, not you and me. Okay. That's why in an institution the kids always say it is us. You don't hear me and you syndrome. It's we and us.
Okay, it's we and us. Madame Doris,
yes, sir.
The future is technology. Today is technology. The future is technology. I want us to get a perspective of how capital technology is in the training of the persons who are supposed to handle Cameroon of tomorrow.
That is an indispensable reality. That's what we are facing now. And in HIMSS we have a lab, and every accounting student, they write their exams, they sit down on the computer as though they were in a company, and they present accounts, they prepare their accounts with accounting systems. And some of them also learn how to create it. So for instance, you get into a company where there is no accounting system, how do you develop some bookkeeping system on spreadsheet, on Excel? So that is something that we are building on now. We are building on the fact that we don't want any student to leave HIMSS without having basic computer skills, at least Excel, Microsoft package at least that. And as an accountant, you must have advanced Excel skills. So that's something we are building on, because we understand the need. You know, one of our schools is the School of Expert Capacity Building, because in training accountants over the years, we discovered that we can't allow our students, we can't depend. I think somebody was saying how they're going the length. We can't depend only on the HND curriculum. We must add value. We must understand what are the challenges that our country is facing now, and one of them is we can't meet up if we cannot use technology. So our president, he is par excellence an accountant. Par excellence, he is a visionary, and he is an expert in his field. He's an expert insurer, and having that training with the Chartered Institute of Insurers, he has come to understand that it's about expertise. If we're talking about professionalism, it's about specialty. It's about being an expert in something, not just having a name that I have something, but then can you actually do?
Being able to deliver.
Can you deliver? And that is why we're focusing now. Our computer lab is growing, and we also have a program for software engineering. So obviously it's indispensable in HIMSS. It is at the first year, all the students are all together, so they have a little bit of each, and it gives them an opportunity to figure out, okay, but I came in like this, but is this what I really want? By the time you've done principle of marketing and principle of everything, and you have mixed with marketing students and all of that, they begin to identify where you begin. And also recently we are working on we have a program for digital marketing, because we understand that in this generation marketing has changed. It's not about people, place, it's not about the 4 Ps anymore. It's about understanding how to use technology, how to use social media to be able to market your product. So we've developed a program for digital marketing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now we are also talking about discipline-based education for to train leaders who are going to change Cameroon tomorrow. We are talking about becoming emerging. We need people who are very disciplined. Talking about people who are able to respect deadline. People who are supposed to forgo certain pleasures to meet certain objectives in the general interest, especially the interest of the nation. What is the place of discipline in the overall structure of learning at the level of HIMAT?
Well, Mr. Liu, thank you very much for that question. I must attest, HIMAT has adopted a moral standing, a moral approach in the upbringing of its students. The president of HIMAT has a culture of introducing masses on campus.
Okay.
Masses on campus. Masses holds every Wednesday in the main campus of HIMAT every Wednesday. So in the course of that, the students are drilled morally. Aside that, we usually have conferences. We talk to students, we inculcate moral values into them, telling them that if you come here, you study without having moral value, virtually your study will go in vain. So through that, some of the students, actually I must attest to you, are very cautious of that fact. They are serious, they are serious, and they are respectful to the hierarchy of the school. And we can see that from their output after school. Most of them are perfectly established ladies and gentlemen in this country. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So you don't joke with discipline.
With discipline, so to speak.
Because there is a tendency that when you get to the university,
it's a free zone.
Absolutely.
Okay. You see, following up.
We follow them up. We follow them up. Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure you have more to say about that. You are one of the doyens of the school.
Yes, discipline is very vital in the training of the students, because even as a person, if you are not disciplined, you will not succeed.
That's right.
This discipline comes from the self, but you have to know that if, for example, a student who is doing accounting, you know that if you are an accountant for an organization, the finances of the organization, they are not your finances. The essence is to manage the finances in order for the organization to grow. those morals are very, very important. That's why we talk of governance, good governance. If we talk about emergence and we don't have good governance, and plus the leadership, we are talking in vain.
Okay.
Yes, but good governance is very vital in the training of the students, and we make the students know that if we have to get to that emergence, they have a major role to play from which parts from the role that our predecessors have been playing in the past. We should know that if we are managing the nation's resources, they are the nation's resources. If you ask me, I would just say entrepreneurship, in very simple terms, though not a professional in that domain, I would just say it's just finding new ways of combining resources in order to get the maximum from it.
To get the maximum from it. Mr. Duna, I don't know why I always want to call you Dr. Duna.
We'll get there.
Okay. Now, you are the registrar of the Higher Institute of Business Management and Technology, Himad Boya. Actually, today I wanted the experts to talk. I did not want politicians to come and talk about something that has to do with professional education. That is why, televiewers, that is why here we have persons chosen from respective higher professional institutions in Cameroon. I'm sure they are some of the best that we can find in the domain. Now, we are talking about, she already raised the issue of digital marketing, but we are talking about digital economy.
Yeah.
What is the place of training people, their students, towards a digital world?
Well, this entails a lot. A digital world. We are already in a digital world.
Yeah,
and,
because almost everything has
with
the
internet with AI, artificial intelligence, it is going to even be more sophisticated in the future. But we have, keeping aside our computer engineering department, we train the students to be able to be competent in the recent applications in the digital world. For example, we have the accounting programs, we have marketing programs, as she said, we have engineering programs, and we do that. We struggle to empower our students to do that themselves. For example, the intranet that we have in HIMAT, it is installed by HIMAT students who are there. So we are making them go digital, but at the same time, we may be limited by the facilities, by poor internet connections and so on. But we are doing our best.
Okay, that's the direction given to almost everybody. But let us look at e-learning at the level of the College University of Boya. All the teachers, are they already very versed with e-learning, especially with the experience we've had and still having with COVID-19?
You know, College University of Boya was, I think, 10 steps ahead of COVID. It's like we foresaw what was happening ahead, because we got experience from the Anglophone crisis. When the Anglophone crisis was at its fever peak in 2018, the main question was, how do we continue education within this kind of chaotic landscape? And what if the Anglophone crisis is solved today and there is a general crisis in Cameroon and students still need to go to school? How do we? So when we had this, we now moved to what we call mobile and ubiquitous system of learning, where we send 2 of our major faculties to US, and subsequently they were sent to Philippines to go and study, see how to build an OBS system, and a system where students can learn virtually. And we train all the faculty and staff. Whether you are a support staff from, you are a support staff from which level, you are trained on how to manipulate or work on the learning platform, the digital platform, because as we do with servant leadership, if a child has a complaint that, sorry, I have a problem, I need a support staff, you should be able to solve that problem and show that kid how to use that system. So when in 2018, we brought out that system where we were training students on online learning, and it was working perfectly. Now when coronavirus came, we totally had upgraded So we were not using just the normal software that people are using. We had a customized set of for Catholic University, which we are using even till now. We were the only school that ran the entire COVID-19 without students coming to school. Even when students had to come to school, when the government said, okay, so students can start coming to school, we ran the system completely, and we are affiliated to UB. UB actually congratulated Catholic University that how you guys have done a good job, and we want you to come and see how this system can be applied. The same thing like when the Minister of Higher Education saw the plan of action we did a presentation at the Ministry of Higher Education. When we did our presentation, they were marveled like, you guys are a step ahead. Now, in terms of how practicals or the teachers are, all the lecturers, it's compulsory that you must have undergone training in e-learning before you come to class, because sometimes the students will not be able to come to school and you must teach them. You know, for example, let's just say you get up today, there's heavy downpour of rain and there's internet service. The students need to learn. What if you come today and say, okay, there is a force majeure, that people are not moving? How do we learn? So we are living in a totally changing landscape. Nobody knew Corona would come. The Corona came, bam, the whole world shut down. But the Corona did not say learning should stop. Corona said the 4 walls of classes should stop, but the learning should take place at the homes of people. Now, Catholic University adopted that system where students learn from using the OBS system. And from the OBS system, we first started with Google Classroom. From Google Classroom, we realized that it was not effective. Our team came now and developed a customized system where parents were equally involved in this process, because we were not just centered on what if a child is at home and studying with e-learning. Parents always feel like the child is manipulating the phone or the child is not serious. So we had to educate the parents that to understand that when your child is at home between this time to this time, that child is studying. That child should not be sent somewhere. So we had a system where we are online, we know that you are online, we are participating in classes, and we ran the system. Even at a lot of exams, we had a system where the student could write the exam. But looking at the fact that we have a kind of system in Cameroon where you must come, so we had to take the exam on site. So in this regard, I believe that is the future, is e-learning. Many people, I believe, after this coronavirus, you will see that government will start cutting their expenditure, because people will move from Cameroon to abroad to attend a certain meeting. And today there's corona. Those meetings are still being held with virtual platforms, with Skype. You have the same meetings. Budgets are not being spent. Hotel bills are not being spent. All those things are not being spent. A faculty may have to move from Boya to Douala to go and teach students in Boya. You will move from Douala to go and teach students in Boya. Now, with the aspect of e-learning, you will not risk moving to Boya. You will not risk your transportation, all those things. You teach the student at the better call. So the e-learning has come to facilitate things. So to me, Cameroon's educational system should embrace this and make it grow.
Now, we are talking about professional education, preparing those that would definitely get Cameroon towards emergence, because at the time that we get completely digital and technologically very powerful, we will also need the manpower to be able to handle all of this. But training professionally requires competent teachers who are grounded in these subjects. Where do you get them? Are they available at their respective institutions?
One of the biggest strength of HIMSS is the fact that the president believes in continuous professional development.
Okay.
So in HIMSS, you never come to HIMSS and stay 3 years without upgrading. If you came to HIMSS with a master's, the president subsidizes your PhD for you to do it. And right now, we have introduced an MBA on campus, which means that from the cleaners, we don't even call them cleaners, we call them hygiene engineers, because we value people in HIMSS. We believe in growth. That's from the lowest in terms of janitors, in terms of, because there's no low person in HIMSS anyway. But you know, you come to HIMSS with the first school, you must have an O level. You must have O level, and then you proceed to A level, and then you proceed to HND. You proceed to a degree. So nobody stays at the same level. You can't stay in a professional development is something that the proprietor holds so dear at heart. And he has succeeded to really win staff, because it's not just about, you can see that he's interested in your own growth. And he actually sponsors when you have a course to go and study. I know of times when he's given a break to people to go abroad to study, but not just a break, but actually even supporting. financially for them to develop themselves, because he knows that the strength of his institution is in the lecturers. So he spends a huge amount of our budget goes for the personal development. There's something we started working on in HIMSS. Unfortunately, because of all the crisis and all of that, we've not been effective at that. We wanted to have what we're calling the HIMSS Cafe. And the HIMSS Cafe was supposed to be a monthly meeting where we'll have presentation on specific topics that, we are in an evolving world, we are in a business world. It's important that we keep abreast with the trends of the world. And so we were going to look at each individual. All of us are experts in our field in different aspects. And each of us was supposed to present a paper during the HIMSS Cafe. It's our time out, but then it's also a time of learning. So we come there and somebody shares a paper on a specific subject, and also pedagogically, just learning how to train, because it's not just about understanding, a subject, but teaching is an art. Teaching is a science. It's something that you need to be taught, and that is also something we truly value in HIMSS, and we put a lot of our resources in building capacity of the people that will deliver to the students. And one of the things, customer service is also so crucial for us. We are taught to honor the students. We are taught, because you don't know who is in that class. Even if you knew who was in the class, even if the person is a small person, we don't have the right to disrespect anyone. So there is a build up from every aspect, mind, body, soul. As a lecturer, you are built to be whole, so that you can be able, because you can't give what you don't have. For us to build whole professionals, we too must grow holistically.
Okay, we must grow holistically. Let me take one or two messages before we continue. Good evening, Mr. Liu and co-panelists. You are just so wonderful with your educative programs. Please, I want to ask the professors of HIPMAT if they offer pharmacology. I'm sure nobody offers pharmacology.
No.
Yeah? No. Okay. Nobody offers pharmacology. Hello, Mr. Leo. Good to all in the studio. I love your program. I wish to ask your guest if an art student can study or be an engineer, specifically computer engineering. I'm Cyprian, writing from Limbe. Is it possible?
Yeah,
very possible.
Very possible.
Very
yes,
possible.
Can someone answer?
It's possible, because, like I said, that professionalism is not based on the certificate oriented that you have. It's the mindset. If you have the mindset that you can do this, and in that system you are trained on this, you can do it. All the higher institutions now in Cameroon are now open at the level that if you have your 2A, you are passed in the advanced level, and you open that you want to study this, there's a formation program. When you're admitted, the schools have formation programs that will mentor you. There are some courses that you do not do, so that you have an idea why you are doing the electrical engineering. Like in Catholic University in Soboya, whether you come with as long as you have a 2 advanced level, and you want to do anything, you do. But during that period, if it involved a field that you never did at the advanced level, let's say when you are admitted, there is a period where you undergo formation on basic mathematics, such that you catch up. Yeah. So there is that ability. Like in America, you see people live here with art subject. You want to see their medical doctors. How does that happen? That's why I tell you that in Cameroon we are doing cultural entropy, doing one thing over and over and over again, and we expect different results. We are based on you must have this before you do this. So we start from the weaknesses of the student, then the strength. Now, but in the domain of professionalism, you look at the strength of the weakness, then the strength of the student, then the weakness. Okay, that's how we look at it.
I think our greatest investment, which goes back again, Mr. Combe, to the question you asked in the beginning about what is wrong with our system, is really orientation, because most children don't even understand why they study S5, why they study A4, in high school, because just maybe, we parents, we try to force them into our dreams, and then they get to a point where they're stuck and they realize that this is not what I really wanted for myself.
Years have been wasted.
Years have been wasted. But I just want to say to whoever is thinking, okay, I did art and I want to do software engineering, that if that's your dream, my friend, go for it. I believe that the fact that you're thinking that is because there's something in you that can help you achieve that. And as he rightly said, there are some loopholes that you might have to fill. It means that you might have to work a little bit extra than somebody who maybe has done and is excellent in maths or has done maths. And I remember myself as an example, when I was in secondary school, I used to fail maths big time. But I met just one teacher, Mr. Samarobi. I will always quote him anyway. He changed my concept of mathematics within 2 weeks. And I began to be an excellent student in maths.
Yeah.
So you can do it.
Can we do engineering at HIMAT, even if we studied arts in secondary school?
Yes, it is very, very possible. We have had cases who have come with 2 subjects, history, literature, and they have excelled in engineering. As the other co-panelists said, it is entrepreneurship is a mindset.
Yeah.
We train students in what you have passion for.
That's right.
If you have passion for engineering,
Yep.
whether you did literature, whether you did history or what, you can still do computer engineering, software, hardware. You can still read accounting, and you succeed. We have so many cases. Though we do orientation, we in the orientation we position the students to their areas that we feel are very good for them. But at the same time, when a student has passion counts a lot, because when you have passion for something, you go for it.
Okay.
You work hard and you make it.
Okay, Bruno writing from Bamenda says, good evening, Mr. Kum. The problem here is that we speak a lot of grammar, even those in professional schools still look for jobs in public sectors. Then you see Chinese doing everything. Is this professional schools actually training the students well? I'm sure they're doing good evening to you all in the studio. I like what she is trying to do. Professional education is the best, but I'm saying that bad governance and bad faith is what is killing our educational sector in Cameroon. No matter whatever we do, or if of this bad government in the power now don't change the educational policies, no matter what we do, it will change nothing. Thank you. Jones is writing from Big Babanki. Good evening to you. Greetings to you, Mr. Liu. And apparently it's wrong doctrine to say, okay, when students should do what they want to do and how they want to do it. Okay, I'm sure that is what some of our panelists are already saying here. But now, my question to you, Dr. Akamin Patrick from Boya, he says, now, the entrepreneurial spirit is what is is the slogan that cuts across almost every higher professional education today. How effective is this spirit at the level of HIMAT? The HIMAT they say it's a school for professionals. But how effective is this?
Of course, Mr. Liu, HIMAT is a professional university, and it has a core value to train young Cameroonians to become entrepreneurs. Now, when young Cameroonians apply to study HIMAT, they determine what program to choose, and when they embark on studying in HIMAT, upon completion of their studies, as the Register of HIMAT really said, in 2016 or so, the president of HIMAT awarded about 5 students scholarship of about 2,500,000 francs each to start up with their businesses upon graduation. I think the spirit of entrepreneurship is upheld by HIMAT, and it is the spirit of professionalism.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. It's Amam from where, please? Your sound system. I'm sure the sound system has been fixed already. How have the students, you say it is very effective, the entrepreneurial spirit or the education is effective. Let's look at the possibility for your products to go out there and create enterprises. Can we say, because you guys have been existing for some time now, can we say that if we go out there, we will find HIMAT students engaged in enterprising activities, creating jobs and employing others?
Mr. Liu, I would not need to belabor that point. I think the register mentioned that we have so many HIMAT graduates who own businesses out there. We have a famous Harmony here in Douala who owns an electrical installation company. We have several of them who owns restaurants and other businesses in Boya. Some of them are even agricultural entrepreneurs. So the spirit of professionalism in HIMAT is very effective, so to speak.
Okay, it's very effective?
Yes.
Yes, it is effective.
So if we go to Yaoundé, we'll find HIMAT students
you will find them even out of the country. We have students in Dubai, we have students in Denmark who own the horticulture business in Denmark. We have people who have created businesses all over. We have. It is very, very effective.
And they say they caught that spirit while they were at Himad?
Yes, they got the spirit from the training they got at Himad. We even empower our students. We have like our school canteen. It is not run by Himad. It's run by students. Those are training that we give them from the onset. Like even the harmony that he has quoted, harmony as a student of Himad, still doing HND, he is the one that electrified all Himad campus B, our permanent campus. That was done by Himad. So it doesn't even surprise me that a student like Fomi Harmony can come up with an electrical company in Douala. He has employed over 10 other certificate holders, and I'm doing electrical installations in Douala here. They are doing installing power, solar power system and so on, and he's doing great.
Okay, he's doing great. But in job creation, are the schools also working to create clubs, a body of students to work together to be able to go out there? Because we are also encouraging, they call it, is it shareholding in companies?
Yes, that's the focus of HIMSS. Well, like I said, we have an entrepreneurship jamboree on the 14th. That's on Friday. We have 14 ideas that we pitched on campus.
Okay.
And that makes the number to be above 150 so far since 2014 that have been pitched on campus every year. Last year we had 20 ideas, and the winner was Mooks tea. And Mooks tea, so from HIMSS now we have tea from fever grass, like what we call fever grass, lemongrass. So we have Mooks tea that is supplying tea all over the nation at the moment. I mean, specifically, it's starting from Boya, but they work as a team, the same team that got together during school days and pitched this idea to a panel, and they were called the winners. We incubated them in a way, you know. We don't have the incubation structure at the moment, but that's something that we are working on. But we still stay mentors to them. We stay affiliated to other businesses that are bringing them up. I visited Goodwill Consulting just here in Douala, just in Bonamusadi here as well, Goodwill Consulting, and they're graduating over 20 students the other day, and those students have already been taken by companies to work for them. So that is like a product of HIMSS training other professionals and doing job placement, placing them in companies as, you know, HR experts and also accountants. And what I found that was very interesting was that he is working in collaboration with his schoolmates. I was so impressed to see that, you know, he was not just working alone, but then he was working in collaboration with other students with whom they were in school. One of the things we do in one of the very important programs we have in HIMSS is the HIMSS Leadership Academy. And the Leadership Academy is that place where we train them to understand that you don't work as an island. And the very fact that our platform, I am an entrepreneurship coach, but I'm not the only lecturer that teaches the entrepreneurship class. We have other people that come into that class to teach them during their period, and they are entrepreneurs. So they already understand that aspect of working as a team. We create teams from day one, from the time they get into school, from first semester, we place them in teams. We create teams of not more than 10, and they work together, and, you know, they swap leadership so that they learn how to work in several different positions.
Okay, good evening to you, Zama Gibbs, watching us via Facebook, and to you, Anita Enno, and Kai Abadayan, and Rashti, and a host of others. We say good evening to all of you watching the program. Now, how is the Catholic University Institute accompanying its students in this? They're talking about job creation process. Do you do a follow-up after they graduate?
We don't just do a follow-up, Leonard. We have a system that keeps track of the students and ensure that in one way or the other, if they have difficulties, we can come in to give a pushing hand. Remember that it's a changing landscape. The landscape is not fixed. Today you can train a child that, okay, to create job you have to do A, B, C, and D, and in the next few minutes policy change, technology changes. For example, we are talking about Samsung S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6, as the S keep going. So as it changes, so we look for the system that will track. One of the ways we do that first is to have a good alumni association. Our alumni association is so strong and powerful in such a way that they keep track. We have an alumni service that keep track of the students. And another aspect is that during the 4th year of the university, remember that the 4th year is a period called work placement. It's not a period where you come to learn. We have a 4-year system from year 1, year 2. Year 2 you go for professional internship, and year 4th year you go now for work placement. Your work placement means that you stay there for, I think, about 4 to 5 months, where you are placed at a level, individual job sectors to get experience. From that perspective, after your work placement, you come and defend your work placement and you defend your project. All the students from the Catholic University of Buea be informed that all of them, before you come to your project, are projects that are meant to develop the community. If you are to defend your project, if it does not have that impact to your community, and we don't see that value that it can easily, it can be achieved within the society, that project is not defended. So, in how we do this, after the alumni service, we move now to a perspective where the students now have a channel of communication where they give feedback to the school, and that feedback, a hotline is there. That hotline is only for those who have graduated, who gives us feedback. This, we need this, we need that, we need that. We have lots of students who have created jobs, not just within the international frontier, like the Zumi Vanissas that we have. We have students who have been able to create job within the Cameroon sector, and all of our students, most of the support staff we have in CUIB are former students of the school. It means that if they are former students of the school, we believe in the product that we sell now. So why can't we recruit these same students to be support staff? That's why I say that for you to evaluate an effectiveness of professionalism and entrepreneurship, it must start from within. And we have businesses that we are running that are controlled by students. You cannot call yourself an entrepreneurial university. You don't have a business that supports the school or supports the institution where students get this experience from. So we have an entrepreneurial arm that does agriculture, that does business, that does engineering. Like in the domain of IT, we run an independent audiovisual sector where we do graphic design and the rest. These are extra jobs done by that sector where students get their money from. So at the end of the day, you start empowering the students to understand that you are in the entrepreneurial university. We should not just sing the singing, but we should practice the practice, we should walk the walk. That's how we do to ensure that the students are well oriented. However, it's a learning process. We think that as we go by, we keep adapting and changing and see how we meet up with Cameroon's demand.
Okay. Right. Greetings, everyone. I very much appreciate all the higher institutions which are coming up strongly in our modern world. I really don't see Cameroon being an emerging country even until 2050. This is because everything is placed under politics. That is to say, everything in Cameroon has been politicized. The mindsets of Cameroonians are fixed and get to one particular direction. Tabot Machiavelli is writing from Yaoundé. I don't know, Doris, can you answer Tabot? You also, don't you think that we can go beyond this cliche of thinking that, okay, nothing can work out?
That's right. You know, I just hate Cameroonians who don't like, that they are not hate people, but then the mindset that acts like a fly. You know, there is so much that has happened in this nation. I mean, we must give ourselves an applause. You know, we must congratulate ourselves. Why not being comfortable? But we must congratulate ourselves to see what has happened. I mean, I have been working in the Higher Institute of Management Studies since 2014 till date, and I can say, and I always tell my students that I believe in this nation. I believe in the greatness of this nation. I don't believe, and I personally run a community development project where I'm thinking that my 16, for those of you who know my 16, Bolifamba Community Transformation Project, I'm believing that that community can be transformed. Because you know what, if we keep thinking and all we do is just criticize and do nothing, because one of the things about us who criticize is that we are doing nothing about it. But one thing we should remember is that the drops of water, they are doing something. They're doing something. So for me, I believe let's focus on what is good. Let's focus on what is good. Let's focus on improvement. We can't just get there. We were somewhere and we are getting somewhere. We are putting in an effort. We are adding value. We are stepping up. I'm not saying that we are the best, but what I'm saying is let's appreciate what is happening.
Okay, I'm enjoying this program. Please, Mr. Leo, can you stop bringing politicians to this program? See what they had done to us. We need this kind of people that can change this great nation. Congratulations to the panelists. My greetings to all of them. Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Kmer. I wish to know from your panelists how successful their students are after graduation, because often these students become frustrated after graduation or lack the competencies in what they claim to have done at school. Kane, writing from Limbe, Dr. Akamin is going to answer you. I'm sure. Yes, Doctor, I'm sure you have a track record of your students. Good evening to you in the studio. Please, Madam Gumdoris, help me. I want to know if him, trained pharmacist, Hilary is writing from Yaoundé.
No, we don't trace pharmacists.
Okay. Yes.
Well, as we rightly said, we have trained young Cameroonians, we have graduated them, and a good number of them is involved in the entrepreneurial world. As the Register of Humanitarian said, we have more than 100 of young Cameroonians who have established their private businesses, who are graduates of HIMAT. We have the famous Informi Harmony here in Douala, who have established an electrical installation company. We have people like Kasum Jim, who has a credible restaurant in Boya. We have a host of them. In fact, if you go through the record of HIMAT for the last 5 years, you see that most of the graduates are well-to-do. We are not talking politics here. We are educating Cameroonians to know that professional education actually pays. They should invest in that.
Okay. Greetings, evening, Mr. Liu and co. I like your topic and a rich panel for today. My worry is that most of our higher professional schools are out for what I call modern scheming, where students pay expensive fees and being taught by SWA and Waikele mindset system. For example, science of education, HND students completing their studies without seeing the color of a curriculum, no to talk of a scheme of work with masters and cram everything written by ancient authors. Congratulations to the lady and the gentleman. Courage and keep it up. Yes, this is a worry that people have, but this mindset of people cramming and then just theory and very detailed practicals, or those who are training from the professional world.
Well,
yes, as I said before, professional education, the divide between professional education and a pure academic discipline is translating the learning into practice.
Okay.
And this translation has to be done in several ways. As I said, for example, an institution like HIMAT organizes academic study trips. Like this academic year, we have organized 4 of such academic studies trips. We have 1 to Le Brazzaville du Cameroun in Bali, Douala. We have 2 in Dangote Cement SA, Douala. We have 3 in the Douala Autonomous Port. We have 4 in the Kribi Deep Sea Port. These are areas that will make the students develop competencies. They interact with people who are in the field. Yes, we may have challenges, but these things that we do will make the students develop these competencies that will make them professional. And as some people have raised the worry that students still seek for jobs and so on. It is not everybody that we train that will create a job. Right. There are some of them who are job seekers, but do they meet the needs of the employers in the market? Right. Yeah. Some of them seek for employment and are gainfully employed in other organizations. All of them must not create businesses. Everybody cannot create a business.
Absolutely.
But we have those people who come with those entrepreneurial mindset, which will develop them, and just shortly after their graduation, they create business. Some of them create businesses while in school.
Yeah.
Some of them have businesses while in school. So it is not an abstract concept that somebody will come and develop a business for you. You have to have that passion of developing your own business. Then we now foster that idea for you to come up with a credible business.
Okay. Now, I want us to get the core position of orientations in this whole issue of professional education, because the orientation, where does it start? With the students after advanced level or with the parents? Because some of them are also working under the influence of their parents who would want their children to become this or
fulfill
that.
their own dreams.
I think it's still fall on the burden fall on the institution, because how many
But do you engage the parents?
Yes, that's how I'm coming.
Okay.
I want to ask, how many of these schools have parental engagement? They sometimes it's rare. How often do you organize seminars for parents in school, in your university? How many have database of parents? How many actually know that, okay, this kid comes from this side and this is the parent, and that
is that not also part of the registration process?
No, I'm just throwing that process to answer your question. It begins because when the school year has to start, remember that if I bring a child this year, I have a friend who is in this quarter who may have a child that may want to come to school. Now, if you organize at least 3 seminars yearly as an institution to empower parents and understand the changing realities and why your educational system is tailored toward A, B, C, and Z, and why they should start thinking that way, the parents will start cultivating their mindset to tell their children at home that this is what you need to do, this is how I need to follow, accompany you to achieve this, and will tell their friends that in so and so school, this is how they are doing to achieve this. So I think that you should send your kids to the school. So if that parental engagement is strictly lacking, you will not want to believe that a father who started in 1960 from a matricle-oriented system where he believes that my child just needs to come to school, get a certificate, write a concours, or get to a government job, or come to Douala, look for a sous de payer, go to Brazzaville, go to a certain company and have a good job, and that's fine. You expect that parent to have a new mentality of entrepreneurship, job creation. That parent will see it as a burden. Now, but what if you start changing the mentality of that parent? During seminar, ask the parent, how often do you change or talk about entrepreneurship with your child? Where do you see a child in the next 5 years? We believe that this is, show them the video, teach them that this is a changing reality. This is how the world is going, and this is how in 3 years, if you do that 3 times in each year, and in 3 years you will see that the level of awareness as of parents will change, because it's not just that child that he has. Maybe there's another that may be coming to university. Maybe there's another aspect is that how many of these schools organize free seminars for the public? Sometimes we leave it as seminars only when admissions are coming up. What if you go to a local community like in Boya? You organize seminars to all those who are in Boya to come and understand the changing landscape. Universities are supposed to educate the public for free, organize seminars for free. When you do this, you give end of course certificate to these people that they have attended seminars for free. It's a booster, it's a push and pull factor that people come and get awareness on university education, professionalism, entrepreneurship, and they come and get this basic. But we don't do that. We focus more of the financial entrepreneurship where students will come to us, how students can come to us. I think it's high time we expand the level, we move from bottom to top, down from top to bottom, where we focus on the students before getting to their parents. If I don't have a child in school or a child of school going age, I may have a friend that has a child of school going age. Maybe you attend a particular seminar, I can be able to sensitize. Most of us here, doctor is here, prof is here, madam is there, will tell you that in the quarter we have been educating people on career platforms, and you don't educate them based on just their school. Sometimes you educate them on a broad perspective. They should make their decision. And the same thing, like it's a triple helix system where you have the parents, you have the students, you have the school. It's a triple helix. Education is more of a triple helix, not just a single helix where you feel like it's just the students and the school. No. So parents have a great role to play in most universities and most institutions. In the West, you see a father comes and drops the child and picks that child, or in Cameroon is where you send the drivers, go and pick that child. If that father comes and drops that child, the teacher will tell you, hey, your child is doing this, your child is doing this, your child is doing this. So if we start engaging parental engagement, not just at the university level, but at the elementary, secondary, and high school university level, we are building that platform.
Good, kudos to Dr. Kamin Patrick for making us very proud of you, our institution. Okay, Leonard Chongong is writing from Douala. Now we are talking about orientation. Isn't that where it all starts, from the primary, secondary, higher education level? But it should also start with the home. Are you going that extra length with the orientation, especially visiting secondary schools? That is giving perspective to these students.
Yes, we visit secondary schools, and we have orientation seminars with secondary schools. One of the things that HIMS also does is he's in partnership. We are in partnership with CSOs, in local CSOs, and we support their seminars and their workshops. So even if it's not directly, but then we push civil society organizations to organize such things in the community. We are a community-based organization, and it would interest you to know that most of the students of HIMS are mostly on scholarship. There are so many students in HIMS who are on scholarship, because and this also takes away that myth of what professional schools want is only money. I was going to end there. Yes, I mean, it's not just that. We are interested in the well-being of the students, and that is why, you know, we have we have a Students Affairs Office, and the Students Affairs Office has the responsibility to organize career orientation seminars before the students are recruited, and then after they are recruited, just to evaluate and to ensure that the choice you made is the real choice. And we follow students' attendance up. We keep a database of our parents, and when we recognize that you are, because students are tricky, they come into class, oh, I was not in class because I was sick. Okay, fine, can I call your mom and ask if you really came home because you were sick? That's when you see the truth start coming out, because they know we do that. You know, we believe in HIMS that is a partnership. We're not just working with ourselves. We call the parents to be able to understand why a student is behaving in a particular way. We encourage their independence, but then we are also parents on campus. How do we do that? We do that by some disciplinary measures that we have taken. For instance, dressing in HIMS is something that we don't leave it to the parents. We in HIMS, you know, they say in higher education, everybody do as they want. No, not in HIMS, because you're preparing to become a professional. So guess what? We can't allow you with, you know, green hair on campus. No, it doesn't work like that in HIMS. You know, so there are some basic things that we step in for the parents, and because we hear from the parents and we understand what they really desire. And most of the parents that come to HIMS, one of the HIMS, the value that they appreciate is that family setting, where we are not just focused on their intellectual education, but then on a holistic education. Okay,
Mr. Liu, thanks for your choice of invitees. Greetings to Mr. Ta, Tita Bandong in Bunaberi. Greetings to Balinyonga viewers of the Prime Media, My Media Prime. Good evening to you too. And let's look at the place of research. We are talking future, we are talking development, we are talking about emerging. There should be research. What is the place of research for your students? Do we just come and study and go, or we also think that we should do some research?
Well, Mr. Liu, I must tell you that he might have upheld the place of research in its program. First of all, before you write and defend the HND, you have a duty. Each student, is incumbent on each student to present a research paper. And that research is done and defended before a constituted panel. After that, the tech students, it is incumbent on them to present a long essay, which is equally a research work. And those research are treated towards their area of specialization. It will interest you to know that if you come closer to some of this research, you discover the important topic they are researching on. I once witnessed a candidate in researching on the role of insurance in the emergence of Cameroon, the role of insurance, the insurance sector, insurance security, the emergence of Cameroon. I must tell you that that student did an enormous work, and today, upon graduation, that student was absorbed in one of the leading insurance companies in this country. So the professional institution, HIMAT, has not waved aside the place of research. Research is an integral part of its curriculum.
Yes, but are you making use of some of these papers that are researched on?
We have a constituted library. If you go there from creation 2010 to date, you see all the write-up that have been done by our past students. They are there in the library.
Okay. The past students are there for reference?
For reference.
Okay. Now, but let's look at the quality of professional education in Cameroon. Can we see that a student who graduates from HIMAT, from Calicut University Institute, from him can fully fit into the global job market today?
Yes, I can say that and say that again. We have had some of them who are working abroad, meaning that they can fit into the global job market. That notwithstanding, there are some issues. That's the training. The training is tilted towards finding solutions to local problems. As you mentioned about research, research is seeking solutions to existing problems, seeking new ways of solving these problems. And if you can identify a problem and solve it, then you can be employed in Cameroon, you can be employed in Nigeria, you can be employed in America, you can be employed in England.
Okay. So,
I want to chip in from the question you asked a while ago about research. Remember, Professor Bernard Furlong said in his book titled The Genuine Intellectual that a university is not for the mindless mob but for the talented 10. That any university without a good library, a good research facility is more of a glorified secondary school. And that is a center. Research is a pillar of entrepreneurship, because an entrepreneur does not just sit and do things, but he must research and look at the problems that are ongoing in the society, problems that have happened before, and how he or she can eventually produce solutions that will solve problems that will be forecast ahead. And that's why you see in the Catholic University of Buea, we don't just have the manual library, we have the electronic library where we get people involved as to constant publication and constant changes of machines and hardware and software. So I think that research is an integral part. Now, getting to your question as of your question was on employment, right? Now, in terms of looking at how these students get employed, I think it begins now with we must too be honest, because we've been looking at the role of the university. The state has to help higher institutions in terms of meeting their objective. And how does the state come in? The state should come in terms of restructuring the curriculum, because sometimes the higher institutions want a way of handling professionalism, but the state tells you, hey, this is where you must go, and you must follow the conventional way of education. Sometimes it's difficult to reinvent, to bend the wheel. Now, if there's a state has to want the country to become emergent, the state must be able to bend the rule. Like, I'm happy that they have instituted entrepreneurship in universities where those who are doing masters must do entrepreneurship. But now, how do they do the entrepreneurship? How? Yeah. You can't bring someone who is a lecturer, someone who is more theoretical to teach entrepreneurship. People who are teaching entrepreneurship don't have businesses. This is like you bring someone who does not own a Facebook page to teach digital marketing. How will he or she be teaching digital marketing? So you have a good concept, you have a good idea, but the level of implementation is not going. So I believe that the state too need to come back and call higher institutions who are doing entrepreneurship and say that, okay, this is what we need to do. The Ministry of Commerce still need to come in. The Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise needs to come in. All these ministries need to constantly call higher institutions who are entrepreneurial in nature. Say, okay, this is the project we have in hand. This is what we envisage. How can your school design policies, educational entrepreneurship program that can come and help in disseminating this? I think the state has a role.
Yes. What are some of? It is true. Everybody says we train for the global market. How do you train for the global market? What are those parameters? What are those strategies? What are those things that have been put in place that ties with the exigencies of modern learning? Okay.
Like I said about our approach towards entrepreneurship, we don't believe in a fixed curriculum. He's talking about what the state has put in place and has instituted. I remember coming to him in 2015, and I'm grateful for a visionary excuse me, I'm grateful for a visionary leader that we have, that he can be able to look beyond what the constraints that the government has set on us. Yes, they have a curriculum, but then we go the extra mile to affiliate ourselves with the necessary organizations that can help us overcome what these barriers are.
Beyond Cameroon?
Beyond Cameroon,
We're talking about the global economy.
The global economy. Yes, the issue is, we are in a global economy where we don't. My proprietor has been to India several times, and he's been working on creating affiliations. If not for the crisis, we would have had Ghanaians and Kenyans in Cameroon right now to take the School of Expert Capacity Building, because we really wanted those professionals. We all know that the Indians, when it comes to technology, you can't beat them, right? So he's been there and he's created, worked with them, had MOUs, and come back here, and we have visiting lecturers that teach the MBA students and also the students of the School of Expert Capacity Building through the magnificent magic of e-learning. So we are integrating that into our systems. We engage foreign lecturers to teach at HIMSS.
And the students appreciate.
They appreciate. However, there is this
confidence of what is going out there.
Yes, we do. We are confident. However, there is a challenge which we must acknowledge. We are in a community where students are still finding it hard to embrace the whole concept of e-learning. Everybody's like, I don't have a phone and all of that. But it's going to be a gradual process. It's not going to be something that's going to be automatic. We appreciate the challenge, but we are also working to put measures to ensure that there is no student that is left behind.
Okay. To be able to lead very well, some persons believe that leaders should lead from the perspective of a family person, a family child, a family, a father, a mother, a sister who lives in a family setting, to be able to be empathetic, that is feeling for others. And anytime I get to HIMAT, I hear people talk of HIMAT is a family. What is this whole talk about HIMAT is a family?
Yes, HIMAT is actually a family. When we say HIMAT is a family, it's because HIMAT is ready to support each other. We are ready to support staff, we are ready to support the students, and the students are ready to support each other in any venture that they have. For example, you have a good business proposal. The president of HIMAT is ready to sponsor the business proposal, depending on the means available. And he has been doing that. So we support each other to grow in this professional training that we are engaged in. The staff, the students, and even the parents. The parents come with some challenges, and we are ready to support each other to grow, placing students on scholarship and so on. That is the family concept we have in HIMAT, supporting each other, growing together as a community, growing together to make Cameroon bigger.
Okay, so there are students on scholarship at HIMAT?
So many of them. So many of them.
Okay. Some persons are also very worried that, like any domain, there are charlatans who invade the sector.
That's right.
I'm sure that is what my friend Mohamedou, who wrote from Yaoundé, was talking about. There are charlatans, even in the profession, the journalism profession. We have charlatans in the medical field. We have charlatans. This one says, kudos to you and members of the panel. I am beginning to understand how great this nation is blessed with the very resourceful and professional intellectuals. Yet we still believe the only way is to groom children for public or government jobs. Keep it up, especially the lady coach here. Uncle Joe is writing from Boya. Good evening to you, Uncle Joe. Yes, Cameroon is blessed with great minds. There are people who can make this nation great again.
That's right. Yeah.
Like President Trump would say yes,
we can.
We can.
This one says, I'm enjoying this program so much, Mr. Leo. Thank you too, just for watching. Good evening, sir. I like your program. Farouk Lukman is writing from Yaoundé. Farouk, good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Kum. Hilary writing from Yaoundé. I'm just so grateful to my Media Prime TV. Please, I really love electrical engineering, but due to the crisis, I couldn't enroll into HIMSS. But I've been on the field now for 2 years with a postgraduate student in electrical engineering but my worry now is I will not have a recognized professional certificate, please. I'm worried. Can you orientate me? I don't know what you really mean.
Yes, I think that I understand that trend that he's talking about, because there's a lot of noise about the fact that a Bachelor of Technology is not an international certificate. It's not recognized. But one thing that people should understand, for instance, in HIMSS, and I'm sure that with HIMAT, and it's the same thing where we have a parent organization, we have a parent institution that awards, it's a state institution that awards the Bachelor of Technology. So when you come to HIMSS, it is not HIMSS that gives you a Bachelor of Technology. It is the University of Bamenda that gives you that. And that is a state university. Click on any school abroad where you want to apply for anything and see whether you will not see a Bachelor of Technology as one of the list of the qualifications. That's the thing, because there is this noise that is going on that, a Bachelor of Technology is not recognized. And people also talk about this whole issue of it's not an international certificate. What do you mean by international certificate? Your first school leaving certificate is international. When you get abroad, they will not tell you, when you have a degree, they won't tell you to go back to primary school because you got the degree in Cameroon, so even your first school leaving certificate is an international certificate, because it's recognized.
Okay, yes. Hello Leo, kudos to the HIMAT panelists. The computer engineering in HIMAT has solved the problem of IT lapses in most of the organizations and institutions in Cameroon. The graduates are very visible in IT jobs in Boya, at the HOD computer engineering from, I'm sure he should be writing, from Boya. Good evening to you. HOD, we're glad to read from you and from many persons who are watching the program. Good evening, Mr. Kum. I wish to know from the panelists if their institutions are affiliated to any foreign university or university institute who offer certificate courses. Ken is writing from Limbe. I'm sure all of them are affiliated to state universities
in Cameroon, and
HIMAT is he affiliated to the University of Bamenda. HIMSS is
University of Bamenda.
University of Bamenda, and then Kali University of Boya.
University of Boya, St. Thomas University, because we are Afro-America.
Okay, you are Afro-America. Okay, we are out of time. One that I'm going to give opportunity for you guys to tell televiewers what you offer and if whether admissions are open already. Kali University, admissions open?
Yeah, admissions are open. We run 4 schools. We run the School of Business, School of Agriculture and Natural Resources, School of Information Technology, and School of Engineering, where we run civil and mechanical engineering. And we run short courses, certification courses, 3 months, 6 months, and we have HND programs for marketing, banking, finance, accountancy. In all the 4 schools, we have HND programs, 2 years. Our degree is 4 years. Since an Afro-American university, you must pass through a 4-year program. And the MBA program, we have MBA programs and MSc programs within that realm. I believe that you can go www.cuib-cameroon.org/apply, www.cuib-cameroon.org, or on Facebook is College University of Boya, the Entrepreneur University. The page with 12K like is the authentic page. Thank you.
Okay. This one says, I think to meet the target of Emergence by 2035, I think professional program must be subsidized because of the cost of these programs. Scare some students and parents. Clinton is writing from Boya. Yes, HIMSS.
Yes. It's interesting to also know that HIMSS has subsidized the MBA program, which we run in accounting, human resource management, marketing, logistics and transport, project management, and also an MBA in finance. And most of these courses, especially for us returning students, are always subsidized. And we also have the School of Expert Capacity Building, and we have the academic practical account. We have the accounting technician scheme for West Africa. We have ICANN, which is the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. We have the Chartered Institute of Insurers of Nigeria, SIM, which is a very common one. We run the Chartered Institute of Marketers, CFA, the Chartered Financial Analyst course. We also have the CDM, Certified Digital Marketing course, and obviously HND in accounting, banking and finance, insurance, marketing, human resource management, logistics and transport, project management, and an HND in administrative assistance and executive secretariat studies, information and communication technology, software engineering and computing. And we have a BTech in all those domains. And you can get to HIMSS, you can write to us, info@hims.org, and you can also go to www.hims.org. You can reach us on our Facebook page, and it's just HIMSS.
Okay, Himat?
Yes, admissions has been launched into all the programs that HIMAT offers. That's the HND level, the Professional Bachelors of Technology, and the MBA. And we have run programs in accounting, in marketing, in banking and finance, in insurance, in secretarial studies and public administration, in transport and logistics management, and we have in the School of Engineering and Technology, we have electrical and electronics engineering, we have computer and communications engineering. And we will, in the next academic year, start the School of Education in HIMAT. We have launched these programs, and we are currently recruiting students in all these fields. And I would like to use this opportunity to tell all our advanced level candidates that they should come to HIMAT and they will receive the kind of professional education that they want. And I want them to know that professional education or achieving emergence by 2035, it is a process, and we are training students towards this process of achieving emergence by 2035. It is not something that you just today you say that you achieve emergence. There are obstacles on the way, but we have to change our mindsets. We have to focus on professionalism. We have to focus on entrepreneurship. We have to develop skills that are employable and so on. And HIMAT is there to provide us such skills.
Yes, Dr. Kamer, do you have anything to add to what the researcher said?
Well, just to add, I will second the position of the government with the effort they have made to enhance professionalism in the country.
Okay.
The government, despite the lapses, I must attest the 2008 new university governance systems have actually driven higher institutions in the country to go towards professionalization. And in that domain, I would say the government have done just so much, and the critics should actually know that Rome was not built in a day. It is a gradual process, and definitely, God being a helper, the year 2035, we shall emerge.
Okay, we shall emerge. Okay, we hope that the policies that are put in place by the state is going to drive this nation towards meeting its objective of becoming an emerging nation by 2035. We want to thank you, Tamari Jarvis, for answering present for this edition of the program.
And thank you very much, Eliana. Thanks to all those who took our time to participate for this program to watch. We want to say that we've done our best, and we leave the rest to you. And of course, thanks to the President of the Republic and those of the higher education to understand that.
Madam Gum, thank you for coming all the way from Boya this evening.
Thank you so much. And I just want to say I'm grateful, and I'm so grateful to be a Cameroonian. I'm very excited about the emergence, and I just want to thank the administration of HIMSS for their confidence to send me to represent them. And I want to say to all our viewers that we're inviting you to join us for the Entrepreneurship Jamboree that is taking place on Friday the 14th of August. It's going to be an event not to miss. So come and hear and experience transformation from our students.
Okay, we equally want to thank you, the registrar of HIMAT, all the way from Boya this evening.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Liu. I want to use this opportunity to thank the president of HIMAT, Mr. Jude Chilaka, for making it possible for us to attend this program. I want to thank my Media Prime for organizing such educative programs. I want to use this opportunity to thank all the current students of HIMAT, and to thank most especially the past students of HIMAT who are there creating businesses and making us proud.
Doctor, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Mr. Liu, and I equally wish to thank the president of HIMAT for making it possible for me to be here this day.
Okay. You will also thank me for inviting you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for inviting me.
No.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome program.
Just want to thank you all who answered present here, because it was on
so
short
much.
notice that I felt that the program should be animated by experts in the domain instead of bringing politicians to come and talk about what the master maybe very little. We equally want to thank you all who took time off to follow the program, the production team, Eli, Desmond, Corinne, who should be at the broadcasting, and to you, Tabi Tambe Bryant, who is supervising our work out here. We say thank you to all the, okay, let me also thank you guys. Mr. Juchilaka, you mad, apart from that of of hymns, thank you to the president of Catholic University, Professor Victor Julius Ngo. But though they are not here, we also extend our greetings to the management, Madam Biaka of the BUP, that is Biaka University Institute of Boya, and the host of others. We say you stay blessed. Bye-bye.